Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be installing this LifeProof real hardwood flooring engineered to snap together. You don't need any fasteners. It's really easy to install, and I'll show you guys just how to do that in this video today. So the type that I'm going to be using today, if you're wondering, this is the Timberwolf Hickory. They say that this is completely waterproof. It has a lifetime warranty. It's not the cheapest that you can get. It's actually pretty good quality, so I'm going to be showing you guys a little bit about this. It has these tongue and groove lips that snap together. Now you can see here a cross section of one of the boards I cut down the middle, and you can see there's about a 1/16 of an inch of real wood on top, and then there's a composite, probably plastic composite in the middle, and then there's a rubber mat down at the bottom that gives it a little bit of cushion and keeps it from sliding around. Now the tongue and groove system that they use for this is supposed to be waterproof. Once you snap it together, it's not going to come apart. It's really solid. It can be a little difficult to get these to snap into place, but personally I would rather it be a little difficult on the front end, but then once it's installed, it does not come apart. You don't have to worry about them shifting around and separating. It's going to be stuck together. So I actually really like the system they have, but I'll show you a couple tips on how to make sure that this is snapping together and a little bit easier to get those to go together. The floor we're replacing is our kitchen floor, and if you're interested in seeing how we tore out the old one and prepped for this new flooring to go in, you can check out my previous video. After tearing everything out and installing the new subfloor, getting it ready, we're just going to jump right into installing the new flooring. Now the first step you're going to need to do is figure out how much you're going to need, how many boxes to buy, and the easy way to do that is find the square footage of your room, measure in feet, your width, and then your length, and multiply those two numbers together, and that will give you the square footage area. Now once you have the square footage figured out, each flooring type or each brand might have a different square footage on the box that it covers. So I would check those boxes and make sure that you buy enough boxes to cover the square footage that you need. It's pretty simple, but I also would recommend buying maybe 1 or 2 extra just in case, depending on you make any mistakes or the room is slightly bigger than you expected. Now on each side of the board there's either a tongue or a groove depending on which side you start with. You're going to want to trim off, if this is going up against another flooring, you're going to want to trim off that tongue or groove so that it butts up perfectly. There's no gap in between the two. So I actually trim this off with the knife. Really easy to cut with a knife. Just make sure that you have a nice sharp blade and it'll cut just fine. Now to trim these boards to length, it can also be really easy. I just used a speed square and a utility knife and scored it about 6 or 7 times, and that cut through enough to just break it by hand, and it comes right apart. Now if you prefer to use a chop saw or circular saw, you definitely can do that. It would cut through this just fine. But a utility knife is really mess free, easy to use, and you don't have to have all the expensive tools if you don't have them. Now I am going to use a jigsaw around some of the smaller cuts like the AC vents and anything else that's a very detailed cut. A jigsaw helps a lot to do that. Whenever you get to multiple cuts or curved cuts, the knife is not going to work, so you're going to want to have some type of handsaw, multi-tool, jigsaw, something like that to where it will give you a little bit easier control and detailed cuts. Now you may notice every once in a while I'm hammering on these boards to make sure that they snap into place, and it's really important that you use a rubber mallet for this. You don't want to use a hard metal hammer or plastic hammer, or else you'll end up breaking and cracking the tongue and groove on this or denting the wood. Now I'll show you a close-up of how this goes together. It works really well, and I've actually tried it both ways, leading with the tongue or leading with the groove. Technically I think I have it backwards right here, but it snaps into place just fine. The other way works pretty similarly. Now you want to lift the board up at a 45-degree angle from the floor, put the two joints together, make sure that you hold them tight together as you put the board back down. You also can use a rubber mallet with a block of wood so you don't break the tongue or groove, and put that in place and hammer on that instead. Now the end joints, it's definitely necessary to have a rubber mallet. Those are really hard to get to go together. So if you use the rubber mallet and hammer at an angle, pushing the board down and into that groove, you can almost hear it click into place, and you can tell once it snaps in, it's flush across the top and there's no gap in between the two boards. Now you can see I'm using the hammer with that block of wood. After I snap everything into place, I'll come back with that block and make sure that I tap on it a few times, and that will pull the joints together even tighter and make sure that everything is in place where it needs to be. Now I have all the flooring down in place, and now I just need to clean everything up, put the appliances back, and then I'm going to come back with molding and finish everything off. Now I'm going to continue on the 6-inch molding that's throughout the house, along the floor, into the kitchen, and around the cabinets as well. Now on the face of the cabinets where there's supposed to be a kickboard, I believe they never installed one properly, so I'm going to install one and fix that up as well. Needs to be 40 inches. Can you say 40?
40?
40 inches.
But I only have yours one.
Okay, come on here. We gotta go cut it.
Okay.
Now that all the moldings are complete, I'm going to go down through now with a 1/4 round molding along the floor, and this is what's going to be sealing the floor, making sure that it's waterproof. I'm going to take a bead of clear silicone and put that down along right in the corner on the floor, and when I put this corner round in there, it's going to seal that and make sure no water gets down around the edges, and this will be going all the way around all of the cabinets and along all the walls. Now, silicone is flexible, so it will allow for expansion and contraction of the flooring, so there's no worries with that, but it will seal and make sure the water does not get behind this. Now once I'm done with the molding, just coming back with a quick coat of paint will touch up any of these blemishes or nail holes that I leave behind. Now one last step is to seal the joint in between the two floorings. So I was actually really lucky when I put in the subfloor. I was able to measure it out to get the exact thickness as the hardwood flooring throughout the rest of the house, so I don't have a change in elevation in the flooring. So I'm just going to seal that joint. I don't want to have a molding to trip over. Now the caulking I'm using is this brown Dynaflex. It's really flexible. Once it dries, it won't crack. It will flex with the flooring, which is perfect for a spot like this. So I'm just going to fill in that crack and wipe off any excess that's left. Alright guys, that just about finishes up the video for today. Here's a quick before and after video of what the floor looks like. Now if you guys are interested in knowing how this holds up over time, just let me know in the comment section, ask me how it's going, and I'll give you guys an update as time goes on, how this floor holds up and what to expect. Thanks guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. If you found it helpful at all, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Also, if you have not already, don't forget to check out the video on how to tear out the old floor and prep for putting in this new one. Thanks so much for watching guys. As always, I'll see you in the next one.